This is the Evolution Fury 3S 210mm multi-purpose sliding mitre saw. It's made by Evolution Power Tools. A very versatile saw. It has got a multi-purpose blade, which means it cuts just about anything within reason. It'll cut 300mm by 60mm, which is approximately 11 3/4 inches by 2 3/8 inches at 45 degrees. 210mm, which is 8 1/4 inches by obviously 60mm, which is 2 3/8. So on the machine we've got a workpiece clamp. This can be attached either side of the machine, there and there. A depth stop, I'll show you how that works. I'll just release the machine. This just pulls out, and then when you bring the saw down, it contacts this piece of steel, and you can adjust that to adjust the depth of cut. So you can cut channels in wood. That's a very useful feature. I'll demonstrate that later. You can clamp the saw all the way back, which effectively turns it into a chop saw. This is the first sliding mitre saw I've owned, and I've always thought there would be inherent inaccuracies with it because of all the moving parts, but I assure you that is absolutely rock solid. So for mitre cuts, you've got a locking knob there which locks this in position when you've set it at the correct angle. At the moment it's set at 0 degrees. You've got indentations, 15 degrees, 22.5, 30, and obviously 45 to the left, and exactly the same on the right. When that locks, it is absolutely solid. It slots right in there, ready for setting the angle. Now I've tried this at various angles and it cuts very accurately. There's a dust bag for a dust collection. As with all of these machines, it's not brilliant at collecting dust, but also in the box they provide you with an adapter. That just goes in the back there, and then you can connect a shock back to it. There are two buttons on the handle. The bottom one allows the saw to drop down, and obviously you can slide it backwards and forwards. The top one actually starts the saw. It tells you on the instructions what the thing will cut. It'll cut mild steel, plastic. You can put a diamond blade on it to cut ceramics or bricks or slabs or anything like that. I'll show you cutting a piece of steel and one or two other bits and bobs, and I'll just demonstrate how easy the machine copes with various materials. So let's start off with something that I've been using a lot in the past couple of days, which is ABS piping. Now that gives you a lovely square cut. Now this is a job that I finished just yesterday with using this machine, and believe you me, it knocks hours, and I mean hours, off a job like this where you've got quite a lot of complicated pipework to cut. It'll cut copper, plastic, guttering, anything like that. You know that when you cut it you're going to get 90 degrees. It just makes life so easy. I mentioned guttering, and this is an old piece I had lying around. So I'll demonstrate this saw just cutting this. And again, that's a perfectly square cut. So if you were like fitting guttering, it's just so easy, it really is. But let's just say that you want to work on a pallet or any other piece of scrap wood. If you used a normal circular saw blade, chances are that you would damage the teeth. But this saw is designed to cut through stuff like this, so I'm going to demonstrate it cutting through this fitting. Right, so here we go. This is cutting through. Actually, I'm just going to clamp the slide so it's acting like a chop saw. It's cutting through that steel fitting. There, look at that. Now, I still would recommend that if you're working with scrap wood, you take all the steel work out of it. But if you do miss something, it's not going to skip a beat. The saw will not skip a beat. You won't damage your saw. There's a feeling of security involved with working with reclaimed timber, because you know that the saw will deal with anything that's left in there. Uni strut. So notice I picked that up straight away. It's not hot, it cuts metal cold, which just means that if you're working with metal, you can cut through whatever you're working with, pick it up and work with it straight away. You don't have to wait for it to cool down, you don't need to dip it in any water, it's just ready to go. Now personally, copper pipe, I think you're much better with a pipe cutter. This machine's just as good, don't get me wrong. If you don't have a pipe cutter, then this is a very, very useful alternative. Aluminium. A bit of PVC, exterior PVC. For me, this machine will be used predominantly for wood, occasionally for metal work, but it's basically going to be used for woodwork. The first thing I want to show you is the accuracy of the machine, and I also must point out, if you use this machine in conjunction with this mitre stand, it turns a saw into a workstation. It really does. It transforms the machine. It makes it so versatile. I just want to demonstrate how useful the laser is. Now, if you're making cuts that don't need to be pinpoint accurate, you know, to within a mil maybe, or 1 or 2 millimeters, the laser speeds things up considerably. Now, I've marked this wood there in equal lengths. I want it in 4 equal pieces. So So 4 equal pieces of wood. Now I want to show you how quick it is to make a frame with this thing. So that's the first 4 mitres cut. Now to 45 degrees again. Clamp it down. Now literally that was just knocked up. I didn't mess around. It would have been way quicker had I been able to set a physical stop, but my offcut wasn't long enough for that. So let me just show you what it looks like. That's a lovely job, and I'll be using that technique for the project I'm going to make next. But that just shows you how easy it is to cut 45-degree mitres with it. I decided to have a go at wood carving, and that's like a very basic relief carving of a flower, and it was just lying around the workshop. I did a big project involving this beading, which I used to transform some really horrible wardrobe doors. I'll show you that in a minute as well. But I had some left over, And so I just knocked up a very quick frame. Had a tinker about, painted it just to make it look a bit more like a flower, because it didn't look like a flower before I painted it. And I gave it to the wife, and she was very pleased with that. And it was a really quick project using the mitre saw just to make a little frame. So that's the use of beading to transform some very old and very tired wardrobe doors. And they're not brilliant, but they are considerably better than they were before I put the moulding on them, believe me. Skirting. There's one cut. And there we go. Skirting cut to 90 degrees. I've watched a few reviews on this machine, and one thing that not many people seem to touch on is the depth stop. Now to me, the depth stop on a saw like this is really useful. It's perfect, right, for making shelving units. And you've got a 12-inch cut, which means you can make quite a substantial shelving unit with a 12-inch cut. This is the thing that sets the depth. It pushes, or it rests against this bracket, which moves in and out. So let's just assume that this is one of the sides and this is one of the shelf sections. So work out where you want, say, the top of your shelf to go. Use the set square to draw a line on the side. Place your shelf on top of that and mark the other side. Now remember that the pencil lines are on the outside of the wood, so when you come to actually cut the groove, cut to the inside of the pencil marks if you want it to be a nice tight joint. We need to put a spacer in order to get the full depth of cut right across the workpiece, so we'll put our spacer in. Now when you guys use a spacer, this is just a piece of wood that I've been working with today. Use a piece of wood that's square all the way along so you've got more support. Make sure that the depth stop is pushed across, so that will activate and stop the saw from going all the way down. I'm going to line up the right hand side of the blade with the inside edge of this pencil mark. So now I'm going to line the left hand side of the blade up with the inside line of the pencil mark there. So if I go along, that's about there. That's about there. So within reason, that's going to be the width of the shelf that's going in. So now you've just got to cut out that waste wood. Just slide it along very slightly. And make successive cuts that are about the kerth width of the blade. I'm just going to give that a run over with a chisel, just to clean out any rough bits. A quick clean out, and then let's see what it looks like. There is the joint now, that would glue up easily. To sum up, the Evolution Fury 3S is a brilliant saw. If you tune it, it cuts really accurate mitres. It will cut so many different materials, I can see a place for it in just about everybody's workshop. You know, for things like plumbing the plastic pipe or fitting guttering or uni-strut if you're an electrician, anything like that, this thing is brilliant. Couple it with a mitre saw stand and you've actually got a workstation. It is brilliant. You know, it's very portable. It's a very good machine. I'm very impressed with it. Very glad to have it in my workshop. I hope you liked the video. Feel free to subscribe and thank you for watching.